Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am calling the June 11th Planning and Zoning meeting to order. If you would all stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hubbard. Here. Commissioner Bradshaw.
Present.
Commissioner Helms. Present. Commissioner Kirkham.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Chairman Hassett.
Here.
Vice Chair Gillette. Here. Commissioner Patillo.
Here.
Commissioner Martin. Here. Commissioner Ruge.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Automated announcements.
Anyone who has not signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete a request to speak form, which is also located on the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on. Please note, there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There is also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, have 17 copies and give them to a staff member at the back of the auditorium. Staff member, please hold up your hand for the audience. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your documents on the podium and line it up with the arrows indicated. If you want your documentation to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item number clearly marked on the documentation. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are seated at the tables with microphones during the meeting. If you have questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentation statements. Everyone, please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must take a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussions. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed from curb to curb. No food or drinks are allowed in the auditorium except for bottled water. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch for 1 hour per the Chairman's discretion.
The items with recommendation made by this commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, July 7th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. in this same location, with the exception of any items continued. I'm moving item number 19 to the first item, which is the evaluation of request to adopt the 2025 Mojave County General Plan to replace the 2015 Mojave County General Plan as required by Arizona revised statutes. Staff, do you don't have any statement on that, or do you? Okay. There are quite a few people that have signed up to speak, as well as individuals who have yielded their time to Danielle. Just so we're all on the same page, I have had a conversation with Danielle and look forward to her time and her video. Do you want to go first? Come on up. Name, address for the record, and just let us know when you're ready to do the video, okay?
Thank you, Chairman Hassett and Commissioners, for your time and your volunteer service.
Thank you, Planning and Zoning. Thank you to the supervisors who came out today. And also thank you to the 26 neighbors who conceded their time to me. I'm not going to take an hour. I'm hopefully going to take about 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm Danielle Olikek. I live at 3808 North Stewart Mountain Road, Golden Valley. And today I'm here representing over 400 residents who would like to have our community values considered during the general plan update. The group of residents I'm representing do not have a no-growth mindset, but a mindset to preserve what we love about Golden Valley while allowing for respectful and responsible growth. And the 400 that I'm representing today, it's really closer to over 500. I just haven't vetted those ones 100%. Many of us have been participating in the development conversation for much longer than a year. We've attended county meetings, community meetings, developer meetings, district meetings, and more. We've submitted notes, emails, and publicly commented. During this time, there has been a very clear echoing of the same community values and concerns heard repeatedly. We have listed 10 items in our support petition to hopefully help guide the development over the next 10 years in Golden Valley. Those items are as followed. Number 1, protection and preservation of current AR zoning. And number 2 is keeping lot sizes to at least an acre plus minimum. Agricultural zoning is a highly desirable quality in Golden Valley. We love our animals and we love our open space. It would be wonderful to work with developers that are willing to help the community preserve what makes it special while helping the county fill its housing needs without feeling like we're getting rolled over by developers. Number 3, no high water consumption development. Many residents express concerns about the amount of water that is already being pulled from our aquifer. The mine, Griffith Energy, and the prison are some examples, especially the mine, which is believed to use over 1 million gallons per day when running at full capacity. And even if there is an adequate supply based off of reports, we hope that the county and developers will still make responsible decisions looking beyond the 100-year requirement. No wastewater treatment plants in unincorporated areas is number 4, and this is a really big issue that has come up over and over again. Due to the past and current issues that have arisen from the Ship Estates treatment plant, there's a huge distrust with the developer's ability to manage a successful operation when it comes to wastewater. Most properties in Golden Valley are served with private septics, and that seems to be working in the unincorporated areas on larger lots. The public records I've obtained show that the county has been monitoring odor complaints since 2023. If I could please get that up on the board. In 2024, our current district commissioner, Mr. Patillo, stated in a letter to our previous supervisor that he has aided ADEQ in inspections of the plant and at no time found any of the complaints valid and that the facility was being well maintained. Come 2025, a new owner has taken over ownership of the plant and letters were sent to homeowners explaining the status of this failing system that has lacked proper maintenance over the years. So what is the truth? Is the system functioning properly? Can it support additional housing? Who is financially responsible for getting that fixed? I'd now like to play a video that was passed on to me by a concerned citizen and this is footage that's been taken within the last 3 to 4 months at the current Ship Estates facility in Golden Valley. So if we could pause my time, and I'm gonna play this video. There should be sound. Can we get a sound check, please? So since there's no sound, I'm going to just mention that this footage is taken from the facility in Golden Valley, and one of the main concerns is there's no buffer or boundary line that is between the homes that are built there and this treatment plant. And I also have been in contact with the current septic pumping companies, and they said that that should not be like that if it's functioning properly. That is an overflow, so it means that the system is being overused. All right, since the sound's not working, I'm going to go ahead and pause that and we'll move on with the video. Or we'll move on with what I'm saying. Or not. All right.
Is there explanation
Actually-
inside of the sound?
Yeah, actually, can we play that again? I do want to show just the boundary line. I forgot that didn't show. So right here, you can see that's where the, go right there, perfect. Thank you, guys in the booth. Oh, that was what I wanted to show. Right. Play. All right. And there's the properties right next to it.
It's got a smell.
So currently, right now, there's no legislation in Arizona that protects homeowners from something like that popping up in their yard, especially in rural communities. So we do hope to find a solution to this issue and that other property owners are protected from something like this happening again. Many have expressed that until there is a county-operated facility, that they do not belong in unincorporated areas. Number 5 is keeping commercial zones along highways and interstates. We'd like to keep the commercial zones out of our neighborhoods and along the highway to help keep our homes safe, quiet, and reduce traffic on under-maintained or unmaintained roads. Currently, there is ample commercial zoning property along Highway 68. Right now, there are 10 parcels for sale totaling 26 acres along the corridor with commercial zoning available for purchase. We hope to see those parcels develop over the next 10 years rather than rezoning in our neighborhoods. Number 6 is reverting the Dorado Angle Homes resurrected property area plan back to suburban rural. If I could get this document on the screen, please. The Dorado development was an area plan amendment approved with many conditions by Mojave County Board of Supervisors under Resolution 2657A. One of those conditions is the development of the area plan shall show sufficient progress by the next decennial update of the general plan. Sufficient progress is the development of a single village or unit. Without such progress, the area plan will be recommended for reduction in scope or rescission. The property was defaulted on, and the project never broke ground. Now a new developer is attempting to use the same area plan without any of the same conditions given to the previous developers, and with very limited details on how many houses they would actually be putting in there. We hope the county holds all developers to the same process and standards when it comes to rezones and major land amendments. The current zoning on the property is AR 36, which is aligned with the rural and suburban land use the local community would like to see. Number 7, no urban or high-density housing in unincorporated areas. If there is, we'd like to see it kept along the highways closer to the cities. Number 8, preservation of dark skies. One of the most precious things we have in Mojave County are our beautiful dark skies, and we want to encourage Mojave County Development Services to educate and share awareness about the dark skies ordinance, not with just developers, but everybody. Number 9, requiring impact studies for large development proposals. And number 10, high support for locally owned business. Small businesses make up the heart of the valley. If we overdevelop the corridor with large corporations, that will crush small business owners. So at the Golden Valley Review Committee workshop, most residents were pleased with the original proposal presented by P&Z. The plan took into consideration our comments and reflected our values. Unfortunately, after that meeting, there was a change to the plan we were shown. Resurrected Properties and Angle Homes submitted a new proposal with 30 petition signatures of support. That information was submitted to the subcommittee members, and the Dorado land use was added back into the general plan. We were never given any notice or opportunity for discussion when it came to light. After taking a closer look at the petitions, if I could get this up on the screen, please. The petitions that Engle Home submitted, we noticed that all 30 signatures came from inside their subdivision of Ship Estates. The question must be asked, how does 30 signatures from a concentrated area trump over 300 to 400 voices from all over the valley? When and who made this decision? Do the over 30% of surrounding property owners who previously opposed this development not matter anymore? At the time of the rezone hearing, Supervisor Lingenfelter expressed that he would like to see the developers and community work together to find a reasonable solution before the general plan update. From our knowledge, the developers had not made any attempt to reach out to find a solution, especially with the property owners within 300 feet of the proposal. At this time, we are asking for the land use of the Dorado area to revert back to suburban development areas before approving the 2025 general plan. Also, in the future, we would like to see Development Services build a better subcommittee model. We believe one representative from the Planning and Zoning Commission from each district did not sufficiently represent all of the voices in each area. In the past, Mojave County has done a much better job utilizing residents and professionals from diverse sectors to help develop the general plan. Our subcommittee representative never even attended any of our local community meetings, which has added to the disappointment and disconnect between our representative and constituents. We are hopeful to work together to protect current residents, create a healthy and sustainable community, all while still supporting the county's development needs in a responsible manner. Remember, it's not the county or residents' responsibility to make sure developers are profitable. We are not responsible for their speculative investments when they acquire land that they intend to rezone in the future. Property rights are inherited with the zoning that it was purchased with. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Oh, and you won't see this in the backup documents, but this is all our petitions, letters, everything that we've collected over the past few years, and there's multiple of them, but they're not organized very good online.
Thank you very much. One of the people that signed up to speak, Paula Golightly, your comments say I have some questions, but just for the record, we're not able to answer questions. Would you still like to speak?
No, it's a little bit confusing when you read all the agendas, so no, I'll ask questions of our representative.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Will the following individuals please come and sit up at the front, and then we'll go line by line. Naomi Hulsey, Gordon Morris, George Loya, Angelica Speakman Friedline, and Jennifer Esposito.
Chairman Hassett, while they're coming up, I apologize. I misunderstood your question earlier. I do have a PowerPoint presentation if the commission wants to see it with some background and some information. We can wait till after public comment, or you can, I can just use it to answer questions after the fact.
Would the commission like to see it prior? Yes, go ahead.
You want to see it now?
Yeah, prior to the rest of the public
I
statement.
apologize for that.
Okay.
So the 2025 Mojave County General Plan, the goal here is to go over goals and policies for future development. This document works in tandem with both the zoning ordinance and the land division regulations to help shape and govern development and land use within the county. And then Arizona revised statutes, it says require the general plan to be updated and approved by the Board of Supervisors every 10 years. One of the big things about the general plan is that it's not a regulatory document. So changing a general plan designation for a property does not change the allowable uses on that property. That's what the zoning ordinance does. And so that's just one thing to keep in mind. However, state statute also requires that when a property is rezoned, that new zoning designation matches the general plan. That's why a lot of times items that come before this commission, sometimes they're just a rezone, and that's usually when the proposed zone matches the general plan, or sometimes they come with a plan amendment attached to it. And that's amending the general plan so that new zoning designation can meet that state statute requirement and match the general plan. So going through this process, we held community meetings throughout the county, starting back in 2024. We held meetings in Beaver Dam, Colorado City, Lake Havasu City, Golden Valley, Dolan Springs, Yucca, Kingman, Wickiup, Fort Mojave, and in Val Vista. We tried to get the word out as best we could using newspaper publications as well as radio ads. Things were posted on the county's website. As part of this process, we did set up an email address to specifically take in comments and questions for the general plan. There's also a way to submit those comments through the website. although there weren't issues when we first put that up there, but we got those resolved and were able to receive comments through that as well. So, and also to kind of go along with this, this was never meant to be a major overhaul. What we wanted to do was kind of go through and make sure that the existing goals and policies still made sense for the county, and also take a look at the development, the land use designations on the maps of the general plan, and try and make sure that those are still fitting what the residents in those areas wanted to see, as well as current development trends, and make sure things are going in the right direction, and if we needed to change them, to change them. So for the goals and policies, some of the things that we changed, so some of them are fairly minor tweaks, but we wanted to make some changes. So for example, some of the biggest issues that we have seen over the past few years and foresee moving forward is water and energy use throughout the county. So in the previous version of the general plan, one of the goals in there is to consider the quantity and quality of water resources throughout the county. So the thought there is that is pretty vague. I don't know what to consider actually means, other than, hey, I thought about it for a second, let's move on. So for the 2025 version, we wanted to kind of change that a little bit, guide it a little bit more. So it's to monitor and protect the quantity and quality of water resources throughout the county. So by updating that language, even though the general plan isn't a regulatory document, when the county makes decisions or is having conversations with other departments and regulators, such as the Arizona Department of Water Resources, Mojave County can come to the table with, hey, here's our general plan. We're trying to make sure that we're constantly monitoring and protecting our water resources throughout the county, and kind of use that to help our decision-making and inform others as we're going through those processes. We changed some of the wording. There's a lot of considers and mays, so we tried to change those to shoulds and wills, again, to just kind of beef up that language a little bit, help us be a little bit more proactive and show that these are issues that are important to Mojave County and things that we're looking at as we move forward with development into the future. So then with energy again, so the 2015 goal was to encourage the efficient use of alternative energy sources by residential and non-residential users. Most of you guys on the commission will remember we recently changed the zoning ordinance as it relates to specifically solar and wind facilities and where those are allowed. And so we wanted to make sure that the language better matched within the general plan. So we changed that to encourage the efficient use of appropriate alternative energy sources in conducive locations. So we want to make sure that renewable energy is an appropriate energy. I know we had some proposals for things like hydrogen production, and there's a lot of concerns with water usage around those, and then also the location of some of the proposed developments. So wanted to make sure that those things were included in here as well. One of the other big things that were in previous general plans were area plans. So area plans were separate documents that were largely community-driven and had their own sets of maps and goals and policies. And so starting a few years ago, we tried to incorporate those maps into our general plan because when I first started with the county back in early 2017, some people that needed to do a plan amendment had to pay for a general plan amendment and an area plan amendment and a rezone. And it was essentially going through the same process. It was just an extra hoop to jump through. We're trying to streamline and make that process a little bit easier to go through, and also easier to understand as we're trying to explain the difference of these two documents to applicants. So with this 2025 update, we also wanted to make sure that those goals and policies are also incorporated. So we're taking all of those and moving them into the general plan. Largely, those goals and policies in the area plans were already pulled from the general plan. A lot of that language is the same thing that the goals and policies of the general plan already cover, as far as, hey, we want to make sure that these maps make sense. We want to make sure that we're preserving natural resources and those types of things. So a lot of them were already in there, but we did include we did change some of them to make sure that some of these specific areas were also included. One of those being the Dutch Flat area in the Yucca vicinity. They had some of their goals and policies were more specific in their language, and we wanted to make sure that those were included. So we've added some of those goals and policies into the general plan. This is one example about minimizing removal or the preservation of, better protecting the preservation of native vegetation, and also looking for things such as conservation easements as parcels are divided within that area. So then we went through, so these are the maps, and I'll try and, these are some of the areas where we made some of the bigger changes to the existing maps. And so I'll try and cover them briefly, and then either at the end or after public comment be able to answer questions. So this area is the scenic area up in the Arizona Strip. Scenic had an area plan, which is, so on the left is the 2015 version. On the right, and all these next few slides will be the 2025 version. So there's a lot of mix of development in the scenic area. So the light yellow color is low-density residential, which is lots that are less than 1 acre going down to about 6,000 square feet. The orange color is medium-density residential. The brown color is high-density residential, which would be like apartment complexes. And then you have the dark red, which is general commercial. The pink color is neighborhood commercial. In the scenic area currently, if you drive down Scenic Boulevard from County Highway 91, there are some commercial uses along Scenic Boulevard. That's the major thoroughfare running north and south through Scenic. And then there's one existing subdivision that has been preliminary plat approved. One phase of it has had a final plat approved, and those lots exist. Everything else is 1 acre lots or larger. The comments that we received from people in that area is that they want to keep those 1 acre lots or larger, which is why in the 2025 version you see we tried to leave the commercial along Scenic Boulevard there, and then we have the mostly the green color, which is suburban development area. And those lots are going to be between 1 and 5 acre parcels. So that better matches the existing zoning and the existing development in that area, which is why we went ahead and made those changes. Up in the kind of the top right, you'll see a section. That one was just changed to a rural development area. All of the lots in that section there are 10 acre lots or larger, which better fits within our rural development area. So moving to the east, this is the Beaver Dam vicinity. And so here there's a little bit more. So this yellow kind of up at the top left there, those are small 6,000 square foot lots that have been platted. So we left that area as low density residential. We've had a few different proposals for this area kind of on the west side of Beaver Dam, including speaking with one of the guy that owns the water district up there, spoke to us at our meeting up there, and they are looking at doing some sort of community development in that vicinity, and they're looking at the existing general plan designations, and they asked to keep those, so we left those the way that they were. But then moving to the east, you'll see a lot of that green color coming in, because again, a lot of the areas, the parcels in this area are those 1 acre lots or larger. And then we left the commercial, those are existing commercial uses along the interstate there along I-15. The other area we made some changes is in the Yucca area. So that Dutch Flat area plan that I talked a little bit about earlier had a pretty wide range of uses, including some commercial development, which is that pink color, kind of here south of, this is the proving grounds there, and coming down Alamo Road, there were little pockets of commercial. The comments that we received at our meeting in Yucca were that they didn't want commercial along Alamo. They wanted the more rural designations, those larger lots. Most of the lots, as you move to the south, are there's a lot of 40 acre parcels. Some of them have been split kind of 4 ways down to 10-9, the smaller lots, but still all over 5. And so for this area, we took those comments and we're looking to change a lot of that area to our rural development area to better match what's existing out there and what the folks in that community wanted to see. So this is the last one, the last slide that I have. So this is the Golden Valley area. The vast majority of the comments that we received from the Golden Valley residents and community were for 1 acre lots or larger in Golden Valley. We received a lot of comments about not wanting commercial development. Some of them said it all. Others said if there is going to be commercial development, to keep it along Highway 68. So staff looking at that and taking in those comments, we made the existing changes that you see on the right. So a lot of that area, which was, I mean, this square here, north to south is a mile. That's one section of land. So that's a mile along Highway 68 that was an urban development area. We did make sure that all of the existing commercial uses and commercial zoning designations remained commercial in the general plan update. One thing that we've seen over the past several years is that people that own property along Highway 68, a lot of the vacant property is zoned agricultural residential, usually with a minimum lot size attached to it. So one of the very common ones is AR 10A, which is agricultural residential with a 10-acre minimum lot size. And we've had people that have come in to rezone their property so that they could split it. So when they rezoned from an AR 10A to an AR maybe 3A or 4A to allow them to split their property, they've had to amend the general plan to be able to make that happen. And so by changing those existing residential vacant properties with residential zoning, I should clarify, we changed those to suburban development area as well, to kind of help those folks so they don't have to go through an extra process for property that's already zoned residential. I will add that from a planning perspective, as we look at items that come in, the general plan is never meant to be a be-all, end-all, right? We know we see a lot of general plan amendments that come before this commission. That's great. We want to see development happen, and certainly anytime someone comes in with new development along Highway 68, from a staff perspective, we're not going to be opposed to changing to commercial along that interstate or along that highway. But we wanted to make sure that we take in the comments that we received from the public, but also kind of from our perspective, future development along Highway 68, if somebody wanted to take one of those residential properties and rezone it to commercial, they would have to do a plan amendment, but I think that would be an appropriate amendment to make should those property owners want to do that in the future. So the last, I lied, I apologize. I have one more slide, it's a zoomed in version. This is the Dorado area that Danielle spoke about, which we've gotten a lot of comments on, so I just wanted to kind of show it closer up. So this on the left, again, is the 2015 general plan that has low-density residential. Again, the red is commercial. This orange color is medium-density residential. When we initially took this area to our subcommittee, based on the comments that we received, we had proposed to change all of this to this same green color, which is a suburban development area, which is, again, those lots that are between 1 and 5 acres. After that meeting, High Desert Land Holdings, Engel Homes came in with a revised plan with getting rid of the medium-density residential while also adding a suburban kind of border around it, which is this, I think it's actually a green slash in here, but it's hard to see this zoomed out. So those would be 1+ acre lots around the perimeter, and then no more medium-density residential. All that medium-density residential would be changed to low-density residential, along with a petition of people from Golden Valley that supported it. So that was presented to the subcommittee at a later meeting, and the subcommittee felt that that was an appropriate alternative and directed staff to make that change. So that's this area here, and that's what's currently reflected in the draft version of the general plan. So that is my presentation. This is something that we've spent a lot of time and energy on, and we're ready, excited to hear more public comments today and kind of finish taking this through the process.
Thank you very much. Quick question. Based on your outreach, how do you feel your attendance was at these meetings with people and placing their input?
I think we had a lot of really good turnout. I was not at the Golden Valley meeting. I was sick, but I understand we had a really big turnout at that one. We had a pretty good turnout for our meeting held in Beaver Dam, and also the one in Fort Mojave was very well attended as well. We definitely had some that were not well attended. I don't think anyone showed up to our one in Wickiup. But yeah, so overall, I was pleased with the process. I thought we got a lot of really good comments and responses. We also got a lot of just general questions that we were able to help answer along the way as well. So I think that part of it went well.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioners have questions for staff at this time? Obviously, you can interject at any moment, but nothing at this time.
Not at this time.
Naomi Hulsey, please, name and address for the record. Yes.
Okay, my name is Naomi Halse, and I live at 4455 Laguna Road. I probably know what you're thinking right now. What is this 13-year-old child doing here? Well, I'm here to try and stop the city from coming to Golden Valley, and this includes building many homes close together and a lot of wastewater treatment plants. And if you've never been by one of those, they don't smell good. So I have some reasons why they should not do this. First, if they do build these subdivisions, I don't want them to take my animals away. Let me first fill you in. I do 4-H with my siblings. We have many animals like chickens, ducks, goats, and rabbits. In 2018, Hickman Farms had a lot of chickens, but then the people started building houses around Hickman Farms, and then the people that lived in those houses sued Hickman Farms from the smell. So I don't want that to happen to my family. Now my second reason. Let's talk about wastewater treatment plants. Like I said, they don't smell good. And if you wouldn't live by one of those, do you think other people would want to live by one? And I have goats, so I have to walk them outside to practice for fair. And if it smells outside, it will just be miserable. And it's already hot outside in Golden Valley. We don't need to add to the misery. So that's why I think Golden Valley should not become a second Kingman. Thank you for listening to this crazy 13-year-old.
Thank you. Gordon Morris.
Goodness, nervous.
Yeah.
She got up there.
Yes, my name's Gordon Morris, 4258 North Concho, Golden Valley. We purchased property, my dad did, in 1960 in Golden Valley. We appreciated what it was. It has changed, not all for the bad, a lot of good. I have nothing against smaller lots than what was there at 2 acres. 1 acre would be fine. Anything less, no. The Dorado project would open that up. I don't want it. I don't want a city. I don't want to see HOAs in the valley. We already have some, that's fine. I don't want to see sewer plants. I've helped build, I've helped demo and remove plants. I've worked at plants. I've worked for a county that run a plant, at the plant. What we have is not a plant. We have a settling basin, we have a water separation, we have an overflow problem. Any mass development will create a need for a county-run, owned, maintained, supervised, and overseen sewer plant. Private plants are not the way. We can't call Missouri or Kansas, where that place is at, that runs it, and expect to talk to them. I thank you for your time. I know you're all volunteers. I don't want to pick on you. Supervisors get that. And thank you, Don, for coming. We appreciate our supervisors for coming. I wish more had been here so they know what you're putting up with. But what you decide, and this general plan's important. We were told that Dorado plan was out, that it'd be 36 acre, and it's back in.
Thank you very
Close
much.
the back door on that, please.
George Loya. Thank you very much. Angelica Speakman?
Angelica Speakman Friedline. I live at 2596 South Pima Road, south of Shinneramp. The problem is, the septic is a problem. We all run on septic systems. And when you put these houses in, are they going to be on sewer? That's what you're planning. And it's not a good thing. But you're also forgetting the fact that a couple years back, they did a water usage thing where it said that if we improve the amount of citizens living here, that we were going to run out of water if we went over a certain amount. You put a big complex over there in Dorado. I used to live on that side of town when my mother was alive. You put that many houses in that area, there is nothing saying you cannot make this into a city. We don't want a city. We want our rural area. We like our animals. We love our families to have the land to roam. We love the look of the mountains. You put a city in here, we don't have that. Most of us choose not to be there. Those who don't want to be in a rural setting, they got Kingman or Bullhead or Havasu or even Phoenix. We're saying we want our rural life. We want to see the mountains. We want to see the sunsets and the sunrises. But if you start putting in these big housing communities that are smaller lots, and eventually they will get away with smaller lots, just like California, where you can touch your neighbor's house. I have relatives still in California, and it's not good. The air quality's bad. And those move into these communities, where are they coming from? A lot of them are coming from California, Washington, Oregon, where they don't know how to conserve water. We will run out of water if we allow a lot.
Thank you very much. Jennifer Esposito, and you can set the timer for 4 minutes. May I please have Stephen Robinson, Tyler Engel, Travin Pennington, and John Gall seated in the front. You can go back to your seat. Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, I'm putting this up here. Okay. You can't see that yet, can you? All right, hang on. I'll make it brighter, and I'll.
Are you wanting to have you do a presentation or a video?
No, I just want to show you the hydrograph for the water level in Golden Valley. So, if you give me just a second, I will make it brighter, and hopefully you can see it. Okay. I just want to make sure that you see this. Shoot, great, now you can't see it. Too bright.
Go ahead and...
All right, well, I'll go ahead. Jennifer Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, proud property owner in Golden Valley of 4.7 rural agricultural zoned acres. I'm also the editor, publisher of the Mojave Free Press newspaper, 10,000 hard copies online at mojavefreepress.com, and I will be reporting today's events. One of the things that I wanted to point out, since it was pointed out to you that water is an issue, I'm just trying to show you the hydrograph for the test well in Golden Valley, which shows a steady decline since 2006. Now, you're going to hear people tell you there's more than enough water in the valley, but I dispute that based on the actual only test well that I'm aware of this comes from Arizona Groundwater Monitoring Site hydrograph. So I think that there is not enough water to put in low density, medium density, or any other density subdivisions into Golden Valley. Moreover, the Dorado proposal exists within the Golden Valley Improvement District. Currently, there are only 400, maybe even less by now, I haven't checked, but about 400 water allotments to sell to build development. So allowing this Dorado plan to revert to what is currently proposed would deprive existing property owners seeking a small rezone of being able to sell that property with a water allotment for them to be able to hook up to the GVID system. I mean, I don't care if you're talking about 1,000 homes, 2,000 homes, 3,000 homes in the GVID. When GVID was created, it was created with a certain amount of water usage based on reasonable density and projections of water use for that small area. Anything to the east of Teddy Roosevelt is within the Valley Pioneer section and doesn't really apply, but Dorado is within GVID. And so that creates a secondary problem. Moreover, I know why Angle decided to put that buffer zone around, because then if they go and they ask for a rezone, they don't have to deal with the property owners within the 300 feet thing, because then they are the property owners, right? Because if they own the buffer zone, then they can't complain. So that's, you know, if they rezone it step by step, it's a sneaky backdoor way in to do exactly what the Board of Supervisors just rejected when this proposal was brought before them. The Board of Supervisors said no. And there were enough petition signatures from property owners surrounding this Dorado subdivision proposal that said, we don't want that next door to us. It will devaluate our properties. And you can't have any kind of large development in Golden Valley without having an actual wastewater treatment plant. As you were shown by Ms. Keck, the idea of having a community septic tank that's occasionally pumped out and has an overflow that's mismanaged is not reasonable for any more of these subdivisions. So going forward, I would hope that this board would take in those things into consideration when individual rezones come before you. But hundreds of people in Golden Valley oppose Dorado. They knew what they bought when they bought it. They bought it for pennies on the dollar on a tax lien sale. I have the court documents. I have everything. They knew what they bought. Now, if they didn't do their due diligence and realize that it was within the GVID and they were going to have these issues, that's on them, not on the rest of us. But the problem is your job as planning and zoning under Title 11-802 is to manage the orderly growth and physical development of Mojave County and to protect the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of its citizens. The Commission will make changes to further the public interest, but will not alter plans or review regulations solely for any individual group or organization for their personal caprice, convenience, or profit.
Thank you very much. John Gall. Name and address for the record, sir.
John Gull, Arizona Land and Water, 2701 Andy Devine, Kingman, Arizona. In 2005, I was fortunate enough to chair the General Plan Update Committee. It was new to the county, and there were only 6 commissioners, not 10, so a little different environment. I have a few general comments. I fully support the removal of the specific area plans that in the past were deemed superior to the general plan, and I feel that was a very good move by staff to do that. I do have a complaint, though, or a recommendation that the watermark on the document makes it impossible to read and maybe illegible. I'm sure you probably received one without that watermark, so it was very easy for you, but if they can show that on there, it's very difficult to go through such a document in that format. The other issue I had or suggestion was I had spoke to Director Holtree and Mr. Gunderson in length about the overlays not specifically matching the current hard zoning. So there's several instances where the overlay or the general plan land use does not match the general hard zoned, and I asked them to do a little more investigation on that. But I would ask each of you as commissioners to look at what's in your district thoroughly, review that, because this document's in place for 10 years, and it's very difficult to change it, although it's a process that can be done, but it's a guideline for all of you going forward. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stephen Robinson, and Mr. Robinson has 4 minutes.
Stephen Robinson, 669 Santa Maria in Golden Valley. I'm going to share a little story as I start. A while back, a friend of mine moved from Tucson to Golden Valley, He and his wife went out on BLM land to do some target practice. Some elderly gentleman comes from across the road near Agua Fria and reads them the riot act about moving to Golden Valley. His wife says, well, I guess we should move out. He said no, and he still lives there. Now, I would have thought that maybe one of our friends in the yellow shirts had been the ones that made that comment to them. Only it was in 1990 that he heard this comment. And I thought it was funny because we have the same thing happening now. I put up here the Constitution and 802, and I'll read it first and put it back up. It says that a frequent recurrence of the fundamental principles is essential to the security of individual rights. And it says in Section 2 of Article 2, governments derive their just powers from the consent of all the governed, word all is mine, and are established to protect and maintain individual rights. Then in 811, ARS 811, it says it says in 811C, it says, the board shall consider individual property rights and personal liberties of the residents of the county before adopting zoning ordinances. In 1959, the worst thing that could have happened to Golden Valley was Golden Valley Land Company from Hollywood developing all these railroad tracks into 2.5 acres. Unfortunately, the board did not require power, roads being built, or any water system. And 2.5 acres, you don't put in a water line. It's just not feasible. And this is a picture of that advertisement from 1959. Now, I hope you got the packets that I handed out, because there's some of the stuff that you'll get a chance to read later. But I'm going to show you the 1995 Golden Valley, or the general plan for Golden Valley. And all the green area most of it are the railroad land that remain as suburban development areas. Yet you see all the light yellow, the almond colored, is urban development. Back in 1995, the county understood Golden Valley was the future of growth in Mojave County. There's lots of land, and in spite of my friend's comments, I have studied the water issue. There is enough water in Golden Valley alone from the Sacramento Valley Aquifer for over 500,000 dwelling units. That's not me, that's the USGS report. There's a total of 28.4 million acre feet of water. But then what happened was, because of things that happened back in the late 90s, in 2002, they created an area plan, and this area plan, except for the corridor, the 10-mile corridor of Highway 68, took away all the urban development land. That was unfortunate, because that's degrowth, that's not planning for growth. It is your responsibility to plan for growth, not to take it away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tyler Engel, 4 minutes.
I thought we were talking about chip plan.
Thank you, Commission. Tyler Engel, 2800 Wallapay Mountain Road. And I'm also the president of Engel Homes, which, for better or worse, happens to be the biggest home builder and land developer in the county over the last decade with our different entities. I definitely understand from that perspective that no one really feels like their backyard is the right place for new development or a new subdivision, but growth happens, and as the county is the government entity, they want to control where that is and have some guidelines. And that's what the general plan is, as the staff described. That's the guidelines that we as developers look at to know where the county wants us to go. Where's the smartest place for growth? And speaking in support of the general plan, reading through it over the current proposal over the last several days, it really puts up some very strong guardrails around myself as a developer and puts the burden on me to pay for all the improvements that are necessary. And talking about a few of those, one element is the housing element of the general plan, and it talks a lot about the 2023 housing needs study that the county did and how much growth is expected and needed, that we're needing tens of thousands of houses in unincorporated Mojave County in the next 20 years. And they need to go somewhere, and that somewhere is told to us by this proposed plan. Public facilities, in that section, it talks about that development should be done in places that have infrastructure either already there or nearby. So places that have roads, that section lines that have arterial roads, places that have electric and water areas already, which just seems appropriate and normal that we would build infill. It's cheaper for everyone, for me and for the county, because there's already an existing road. If I go out 10 miles and put a subdivision in the middle of nowhere, then I have to dedicate that road to the county, and then the county has to maintain all of that new road to this new section out in the middle of nowhere and maybe build a substation there for sheriffs and fire departments. It's not as efficient as building where there's already facilities. Water services mentioned in there. There's a map on page 106 that talks about the areas with designated water services and that have been designated with ADWR for having adequate water, and Golden Valley and our Dorado property is one that is under GVID. Another big area is flood control. It talks about encouraging engineered development so that flood control improvements are actually done. Currently, most of Golden Valley is being developed with minor land divisions and wildcat subdivisions, and in those cases, no flood control improvements are done. Everyone downstream is worse off every time somebody builds a house on a dirt lot that's created by a minor land split. They don't do any retention, they don't improve the road. So if we were to go and ask the county flood control manager, would he rather have the next 100 houses built in a subdivision that's required to have flood control improvements done and engineered versus wildcat 100 houses? He would unequivocally say, yes, a developed subdivision that is engineered. And so we appreciate your time, and I'm in support of the general plan. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Travin Pennington.
My name is Travin Pennington. I live in Kingman. My address is 2247 Mason Drive. I'm here just maybe give a little bit of background and context to kind of what we're talking about. And this, Angle Homes is talking about a 1,480 acre piece of property that they either own or control with options. It's been referred to as the Dorado project. We purchased that project in 2023 after consulting with development services. We were very concerned. We wanted to make sure we bought a property. We understood what we were getting into with an understanding of the general plan would allow us to do what we did. It sounds like there was some miscommunication on that, but after consulting with the county and confirming those ideas, we went ahead and made the purchase. Looking at the history of this, as early as 1995, this piece of property was designated as a majority of low-density residential, right? So it wasn't just something that popped up when the El Dorado subdivision came about. Much earlier, 1995, this is very similar to what we're asking for today. Again, in 2002, we got our hands on a copy of a document from the, and it still showed this El Dorado subdivision, or our property, 1,480 acres, as designated in 2002 as low-density residential. In 2024, we started the rezone process, made application to development services. We went before the Planning and Zoning Commission. We got an approval or a recommendation to go to Board of Supervisors. At June 6, 2024, we were denied by the Board of Supervisors. And at that meeting, the chairperson of the Board of Supervisors encouraged us as developers to participate in the general plan update process, right, over the next 18 months. That's what we were instructed to do, and we've done that. At every fork in the road, we tried to meet that, right? There's a document. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Happy to answer questions if you have some.
That is the last of the people who have signed up to speak on item 19. Do commissioners have any questions or comments for staff? Hearing none. Do supervisor, I'm sorry, you do?
Well, as soon as I do have several comments and discussion points.
I could go all day, I think. I know.
Who's talking?
Not sure how that.
Do you know
who is
where
it?
Green
Oh, an
Valley
applicant?
is?
Can you just manually mute all of them?
Green-
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. You have questions, just general comments about item 19?
I do. I have some general comments. Not a lot of questions particularly, but some comments.
At this time, are there any questions for staff, though? I want to give the supervisors an opportunity to either make a statement or anything along those lines, if there is some. Okay. So no questions for staff at this time. Is that correct?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Supervisor Lettman?
First. St. George or?
I'm going to let you run it. Yeah. Let's bring up Bravada first. Okay. Okay. You normally don't have a member of the Board of Supervisors addressing you as a commission. This is kind of an unusual meeting. So I wanted to come, and since I'm a new member of the Board of Supervisors, I'm very late in the process of the general plan update. There's two items I wanted to bring to your attention first. We've heard nothing this morning about the Pravada development in Golden Valley. This is a significant planned community that was done back in an agreement in 2008. And so we've been pulling the agreement, by the way, and by the way, this is what it looks like. And while I think can be a pretty smart guy, I truly do not understand the lease agreement with Pravada dated June 2nd, 2008. So I just wanted to let the folks in the room and the commission know that I've gone ahead and put the actual lease agreement on the Board of Supervisors agenda for next Monday. We're not going to talk about right or wrong on Pravada. What we're going to talk about is, can we understand what the master agreement with Pravada is? And Attorney Davis just handed me a note. You tell me if I'm wrong on this, but we believe the Pravada agreement and the changes to the general plan that were initiated in 2008 are over 700 pages long. The reason this is of concern to me in Pravada, if you look at the map, do we have that up there on the... I've got it. Okay, there it is. Pravada is that thing there in the bottom left. There are some areas of high-density housing that are in there, and I've made it very clear why I'm a pro-development guy, no question about that. I think most people know that. My preference is that for the general plan, that the high-density designations inside this Pravada development be stripped out. Okay, that they be removed. But we don't know that we can do that because the Pravada agreement signed 17 years ago may prohibit us from doing that. So that's why I want to have the item on the board agenda. We will go over it. We're not going to go over 700 pages, but we'll certainly go over this document that we think is in force for another 7 years. We believe it expires in June of 2032. It's with the Rhodes Homes Arizona LLC. I'm not even sure who owns Rhodes Homes LLC or its successor agreements today, but I want to take a look at that. The high-density housing in Pravada is a concern to me as a supervisor. My input for the purposes of the general plan is that that designation should be removed. Okay, so, but the first step is to figure out whether or not we can do it. So the other item I wanted to talk about is a significant change to the general plan. Can we go ahead and bring up? You do it. And I've dropped off Jamie some copies for distribution to the members of the commission. Yeah, let's max that up. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the area, and you'll notice when we did the general plan hearings, a zone we left alone by design, because nobody lives in this zone, okay, is the area directly below St. George, Utah. And in this first slide, you see an aerial photo, and in the middle of that is a black line, a horizontal black line, and that is the state boundary. And there's this area directly below the state boundary that is of concern to me. So what I'm going to be asking the commission to do, okay, and I want to go through the process. Normally, we could just add this at the Board of Supervisors level, but I think it's important to go through the process, and I assume we're going to need to get input from the state of Arizona on this since they're a primary landowner. But if you take a look at this, there are approximately the creation of this special planning area will encompass about 20,000 acres, okay, largely from an area where Interstate 15 crosses into the Utah border, and we have another slide that'll give you a better picture of this, going all the way over to the Canyon Terrace subdivision along Utah State Route 7. This slide right here, when this is the River Road interchange, and there's that state line again. When this thing was first built, some of us lovingly referred to it as the underpass to nowhere, okay? And in fact, we can now see 15 years later that in fact there's something around this underpass. But when we look at it and we look at that state line, we see that vacant line. If we can go to the next slide. And these are 3 subdivisions, okay, that are along the border of Washington County and Mojave County, Utah, Arizona. And if you'll look at the one on the far right, that is a subdivision, and you are not seeing things. The backyards are literally on the Arizona state line. Okay, there is a reason that this development stops at the Arizona state line. And I assure you, if that artificial line was not there, this development would have come far in to the south of where that line is. So, and you also see 2 more developments that are adjacent to the Arizona state line. It is my opinion, casually speaking, okay, that I believe there is interest, okay, in moving development opportunity across the state line from Washington County into the area that is now part of Mojave County. Can we look at the next slide? So what I'm proposing is that we set aside an area called the South St. George Special Planning Area, and there it is. The area in gray that you see on there is land owned by the the state of Arizona through the Land Trust. And we all know what that means. That is land that can be bid on at some date in the future, okay, for the purpose of development. The areas you see there in the earthen colored area, that is BLM unallocated land, okay? And I think there's the reason the state of Arizona took this land a long time ago directly south of St. George, Utah. So my concern here is that, well, actually, the purpose of creating the special planning area, and by the way, we have no idea what will go on in this land, but we're sending 2 messages, okay? Message number 1 is, we are kind of open for business to talk about developing this area. Okay, that makes sense. But message 2, and the important one is, Mojave County will decide what is going to go on with this land, okay, directly. And we're going to avoid the mess, okay, that we have in other planned development communities in the county. We're going to get in front of this, even though you may never see a shovel turned for the next 10 to 15 years. We need to have this area designated as a special planning area and put everybody on notice north of that border that we're going to decide what's going to go on with this land, and we're going to be very, very careful about what is going to happen to this highly developable area. And that's exactly what that is. Let me go back to my notes. Can we go back to that first slide? Yeah, so again, that's St. George, Utah, that area you see in the green down there, and they're approaching build-out. And one of the reasons that our land in Mojave County is so appealing to developers, okay, is that it's not in the state of Utah, okay, with all of the restrictions. And I firmly believe that bridge to nowhere, that underpass to nowhere was built for a reason. And the only reason it wasn't built was so you could make a left turn and head up River Road into St. George. In fact, we know that interchange gives access and a way in to these areas. I'm not opposed to the development of this area at all. I think it makes sense. I just want the county to get ahead of the game and just put everybody on notice. We recognize people are looking at this area for future development. We will decide the parameters around the future development. We will invite developers to come in and comment and tell us what they would like to do. The appropriate time to do it is now. I apologize, we're so late in the process. I do want to make one further note. This is in District 1, okay, and Supervisor Lingenfelter did sign off on this 2 days ago. Okay, so he is in agreement with this proposal, okay, that this makes sense to him, okay? We would like to move forward. I don't know what the process will be in terms of input required, because we really haven't had a public hearing on this area, okay? But in my opinion, I'm asking the commission that this be added to the general plan, a designation of the South St. George Special Planning Area. Any questions?
Can we just do it by recommending to staff that we add that at this juncture?
Matthew?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Patillo, I think there are a couple options. So yeah, I think one could be just basically recommending adoption of the general plan with specific changes that you want to see. The other potential option would be continuing this item to the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, which would give us time to make those changes and present those changes so you guys would have a chance to see them first before passing it on to the board. I think either way would work.
Is there a
question also? Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Letman. The other question, so on that end, would you just designate it as a special area? Would we put some kind of an overlay AR's density?
I think it's going to be.
Or how would we, what would be the best way to move that forward? Because I kind of agree. I'm not sure that it would be acted on in the next decade. It might. You never know. But what would be the process and best placement for?
Yeah. So again, Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Bradshaw, there's multiple options. We'd have to really dive in and see what made the most sense. I think from my general understanding, kind of the development that's happening north of the border is a lot of single-family residential, smaller lot homes. So one option would just be changing that area to an urban development area, which is a broad category and would allow for a lot of different types of development. It would allow for your smaller lot, single-family residential subdivisions. It would allow for commercial development along the major thoroughfare of the road, that kind of thing. So if it's kind of, hey, and then we could also do like a write-up in the body of the general plan as well, kind of explaining this is the area that we're looking at and what we want to see moving forward in that area as well.
So to that end, I think, it might be as simple as just an urban classification overlay, because I'm assuming that with that property all being owned by a single entity, the state of Arizona, that it would be a single developer that would come in as a large master developer.
Good question.
And bring in an entire community idea, and the urban development would probably make more sense.
Yeah, and I think I do think the urban development area makes probably the most sense and allows for the most flexibility within kind of that range of development. As far as development of it goes, yeah, often for state land to be developed, there's an auction, so it gets auctioned off, somebody purchases the land and then they develop it. So whether or not they do it as one large chunk of, this is a very large area, or they split it off into smaller chunks and auction it off to different ones. It's still going to be, large developments that are being done, but it's possible that it's split up into a few different. That would be up to the state and the developers that are looking to purchase it from the state.
And the county.
But what it would not be, it wouldn't be released as individual parcels. It would be tracts, large tracts of land where, to your
That's up to
point.
the state of Arizona, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be. The state of Arizona wouldn't develop it. They would sell it to a large tract developer, is what I would assume would happen. We see that happen in Utah all the time, so that's why I assume that you would see a similar scenario in Arizona.
Yeah, most of the time that I see state trust land sold, it is large parcels that are then split and developed.
Yeah, and in fact, just as a point of interest, the property to the north of the Arizona state line was originally state trust lands of Utah, and it was developed exactly that way.
Okay, so with that being said, is there a motion from a commissioner to do either of those items that were presented regarding Supervisor Lettman's proposal?
So, do we do a motion, or do we just include it in the overall motion of approval or
I understand that,
continuing?
but correct.
Yeah, Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Batchot, so again, this item is the entire general plan. So when we've talked about everything, yeah, the recommendation could either be to send this to the Board of Supervisors with proposed changes, or it could be continuance with proposed changes, and then we would bring those proposed changes back before the commission.
Meaning it gives your department the opportunity to put those changes in place, and the plan in 19 now moves to next month.
Correct, yes.
That's what I meant when I said.
I do have one other question. What about the roads property that you talked about? You said you had to talk to
On
the state.
Pravada, all we're going to do is try to understand the lease. Now, my request, okay, is, or the master agreement, excuse me, it's not a lease. My request in there is, and certainly when it gets to the board, if it's not changed, I'll make the request to change, and that is to strip out all the high density, okay, in the Pravada development. But again, the point is, we don't know if we can do that because of this agreement created 17 years ago.
Would we,
Sorry, go ahead.
would we have an answer by the next meeting?
No. I'll have an answer for the Board of Supervisors on Monday.
Perfect.
Oh.
So I don't really see any point to continue discussion on item 19 if there's two large ticket items that need to be researched and discussed.
And
You all agree?
Would you agree too that the Pravada community would also affect the larger rezoning or the proposed for Dorado? Like two connected, they're servicing the same area?
No, they're far apart from each other.
Wouldn't we want to understand what's happening with Pravada first?
Should never want.
Do you?
So yeah, continuing 19 is what I'm recommending too.
Okay, so is that a motion?
I make a motion to continue item 19.
Yep.
I'll second.
There's a first and a
I'm sitting.
perfect. So there's a first, oh, go ahead.
If we wanted to do a motion to continue, we'd also need to include in that motion the suggestions by Supervisor Lettman for the North Canyon,
We know what you're talking about.
Yeah, special planning area.
St. George Special Planning Area.
And
the
and the Pravada research, or is that something that?
Pravada research will be included, but since it's not being reviewed by Development Services, I don't think you need to include
But
it.
it could very technically affect the general plan for that large chunk of land in the bottom left of that slide that was presented, correct?
With safe and sorry, then just include it.
Okay, so the motion needs to be amended
I
to,
amend my motion to include the designation of South St. George Special Planning Area
And
and Pravada.
whole thing. Okay. Does that motion suffice in order to give adequate research time for the department?
I think that should work unless there are any other proposed changes to the general plan as a whole.
But those can
My
be
preference would
discussed.
To include all of them.
But those could be discussed again on the 19th the next meeting when the 19th item is presented again. We are just pinpointing the two that were presented by Supervisor Lettman to give adequate time to get them into the plan possibly, correct?
So, yes, so you could do that if there was more discussion about the general plan as a whole and there were other things that wanted to be changed, you could make a motion to continue it, and then we could change everything that you guys wanted to change and then bring everything back as hopefully more of a final copy to prevent doing it
In an
again.
ideal situation, you would like to see a motion that pertains to all the revisions, continue the discussion and everything today, and then have one approval next meeting.
If that were possible, that would be ideal, but certainly there's going to be more conversation next month as well, and I understand that.
Yep. So, with that being said, there's a motion on the table, there's also a second. You have an opportunity to vote in favor to continue those with those two motions or continue discussion. And keep in mind, discussion can also occur at the next meeting as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that the concerns from Golden Valley are taken into consideration.
I agree.
As part of this motion, specifically the Dorado properties.
I understand that, but as Commissioner Helms had pointed out, that the item that's up for discussion and research, which is on the Monday agenda, will also potentially affect the Dorado project as well. So there's a,
Am I misunderstanding that?
I don't think it affects it at all.
The development agreement that Supervisor Letman was speaking of is only for the Pravada area. That development agreement does not cover the Dorado area, just to clarify.
so making revisions to that portion will not affect Dorado in any way.
Correct.
Okay, so, again,
Any changes to the motion would require the second to be withdrawn, then, all that fun stuff.
yeah, that's what I was gonna go with. So, if there's something else that someone would like to add, this motion needs to be withdrawn and we need to revise it and start fresh. Otherwise, there's a first and a second on the table that needs to be voted for. So if there's a revision, by all means, would you like to hear what that is and potentially revise?
Who's the second?
There's a first and a second.
Second has to.
Well, what would the revision?
Yeah, what are you looking for?
revision.
I just want to make sure that the concerns about Golden Valley are also addressed.
Dorado specifically is,
Correct.
But again, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Attorney, that even with these motions, this item is not getting approved or denied today, and those changes or discussions can occur next month as well.
That is correct. If you wanted to give an example, pure example, for Dorado specifically, could be to direct staff to come up with a proposed alternative, and you could put side by side together. That could come up at the next meeting, and the commission could compare what has been proposed by the community versus what currently is, and can compare side by side.
You get what he's saying on that one? Would you like to revise your motion for this item?
Second has to be withdrawn.
You need the second withdrawn if she's interested in revising.
I'm fine with my second the way it is.
Okay, all right, they're fine. There's a first and a second on the table. It needs to go for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
I oppose.
Okay, one opposed. Motion carries.
Okay, I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we have Golden Valley people here and supervisors. Can we address that septic overflow? That is disturbing, and I want to know if the supervisors intend on addressing that problem. That's disturbing.
I don't believe that that's an item, but thank you for the
Not
comment.
an item, but the supervisors.
What's disturbing is Cullen Patella thinks that
Hold on. You've upset the animals now. So, the number 19 is done, that was voted. It is being pushed to the next meeting. The public hearing is also closed. If I didn't already do that, I understand and appreciate your comments. But this item is done, and I'd like to move on to 1. Unfortunately, there's no interaction that can occur, and I do apologize for that. But I would encourage you to come back to the next meeting. Item number 1, Vicky.
Agenda item 1 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor parcel number 404-19016 to allow for a wireless telecommunication facility with one 150-foot tower in an AR agricultural residential
That's all,
zone
I can't hear anything.
in the Cane Bids.
I can't hear anything.
I can't either.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
People are pissed.
Keeps going.
Who's this go to?
Her. We'll just give him a minute.
Yeah. He'll be back.
This is for a special use permit for a 150-foot tower in an AR agricultural residential zone in the Cane Beds vicinity. This special use permit is to replace special use permit approved with Resolution 2025038. The developer determined the location approved with Resolution 25038 would not be adequate for service. The special use permit is a new location in the same area. Resolution 2025038 will come before the Planning and Zoning Commission for rescission at the July 9th meeting. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present or they're on Teams? Okay. Do they wish to speak at this time or just available for questions?
I'll be available for questions. My name is Michael Powers. I represent the applicant, Atlas Tower, in tandem with T-Mobile on this project.
Thank you very much. If you could mute until the commissioners have a question, I would greatly appreciate it. There is no one signed up to speak on this item. Does anyone, commissioner, have questions or comments for staff at this time? Or questions for the applicant? Hearing none?
No, I just, sorry.
Hearing none, I am closing the public hearing and would like to entertain a motion on item 1.
So I will move that we approve this, but with the stipulation that resolution 2025.038 is rescinded.
Second.
Okay, there's a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item 2, Cassidy.
Item number 2 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcels number 226-38025A from a C2 general commercial zone to a C2H highway commercial zone to allow for a billboard in the Mojave Valley vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Are there a no note to being on Teams? Okay, there's no one signed up to speak at this time. Are there questions, comments from commissioners for staff or applicant on this item for discussion?
I only have potentially one question.
Okay.
And my question is, the packet that I received, it looks like 2 and 3 are the same. If they're not the same, help me understand why, so I can vote on number 2 appropriately.
That's a question for staff.
I believe one is a rezone and one is a special use permit.
One is for rezone, one is special use permit.
To accommodate the billboard.
Oh, I see. That's what I got, rezone.
Okay, clear.
Yes, sir?
I'd like to move approval.
Okay, so no other questions, comments, closing the public hearing. I'd like to enter.
There's no question.
I do have other questions. There are other billboards in the area. Are there any restrictions to say how close billboards can be before we do any rezoning? Like considerably up and down that stretch?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Helms, yes, there are other billboards in the area. The spacing requirement in the Mojave County zoning ordinance is 500 feet.
Oh, wow.
Billboards have to be 500 feet apart. The closest one is to the north, but it is more than 500 feet. I don't know the exact distance.
It's fine. It's within regulation.
Yeah, as long as it's within compliance. So again, closing the public hearing. Commissioners do have a motion. There's
Yes,
one
I have
on the
a motion.
table. Okay, there's one on the table. Second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item 2 carries. Item 3, Melanie.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 226-38025A to allow for a billboard in a C2H highway commercial zone in the Fort Mojave vicinity. Staff does find that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, there's no one signed up to speak at this time, and we've already acknowledged that it coincides with item 2, so I'm going to close the public hearing and entertain a motion for item 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Item carries. Item 4, Vicky.
Sorry.
You're good.
Agenda item 4 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban development area land use designation to a commercial recreation land use designation and a rezone of assessor's parcel number 224-20027 from an AR 27A agricultural residential 27-acre minimum lot size zone to a CRE commercial recreation zone to allow for an RV park in the Mojave Valley vicinity. We've received 9 letters of opposition and 1 support petition. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Name and address for the record, please.
Lynn Robinson, representing the applicant. P.O. Box 2587 in Bullhead City. Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We're very grateful for your staff, Matt and Vicky and Drew and Cassidy and Melanie. Everybody's contributed to this. A brief description of the project. This will be a gated 5-star resort, RV resort. The target market is Class A coaches, which often exceed $1 million. The measurements on these typically are 40 feet plus their vehicle. So the spaces will be between 40 and 80 feet, and depending on the mix of the pull-throughs, we're anticipating between 220 and 250 spaces. I have a map I'd like to show you. Okay. Our website will direct the traffic off Interstate 40 through Needles to the first stoplight, which is Courtright, 2 miles to the east to Vanderslice, and to the north, approximately 1.25 miles. Okay? This is a rough draft, a pencil drawing of the site, and we will have a clubhouse and an office in the entrance on the southeast corner of the site, as far away from a residential as we can get. The site also includes, the southeast corner, it includes the utilities, includes Mojave Electric for electricity, Fort Mojave Tribal Utilities for sewer, which has more than adequate capacity. We have multiple choice on the water. We have a water company, and we have our own well. And there's a park, County Park, which is a wonderful recreation facility located to the west. I just have a little bit more.
Go ahead.
You can also see that we're including a 25-foot buffer between us and what is already an existing block wall that separates the communities. Okay? We have resort rules. Okay? And I'll go through those very quickly. We're going to vet each one of the reservations. Okay, you can see that there are schoolies and the homemade trailers. They are prohibited. Okay, we have a reservation policy. We have occupancy limits. Okay, some of the most important items is that we have quiet time, 8 o'clock p.m. to 8 a.m. Those are quiet times. You can see that we also have no generators. So no generators will be allowed. And you can also see that we have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week security. So we've done everything that we can to plan for good neighbors. And we believe that this will be a significant contribution to the economic growth and development of the South Mojave Valley. And so with that, we respectfully request approval of the zoning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You want to hold up there for a second, just in case there's any questions? Public hearing is open. There is no one else signed up to speak. Do commissioners have questions for the app? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
How many RV spots are you looking at?
Estimating between 200 to 220 and 250.
Thank you.
Additional, yes, sir.
I have so this RV, it looks like it's, it is. It's next to a park that has ball fields. These ball fields sometimes go into the midnights. And is that a disruption to your customers? And how does that work out? You've got a school there, and there's lots of functions there that don't have quiet hours. So how would that work for this class of an RV park?
Yeah, it's not an opposition at all. In fact, the park next door is a wonderful recreation facility. It has hundreds of trees. It's got tennis. It's got pickleball. It's got a dog park. It's got walking trails. So, in fact, it's quite a compliment to the resort.
I also think for this specific, that's the largest dog park in the state of Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, but I also believe that this amenity would continue to increase with the RV park. I had question of if these RVs were elevated enough, because you don't want an RV park next to schools, but you're right, these rigs are $750 to $1 million a piece.
Right.
So it would be a whole different clientele if you stick to your layout, like you're stating.
And how can we guarantee that?
I don't know. I don't know how you can guarantee that, but if you're laying it out that way.
Right.
I mean, this is on the applicant to do once approved. I mean, is there any questions specifically regarding the requested rezone and the ability to do the RV park today?
No, I'd make a motion as is.
Well, I actually have some additional questions, and it actually bleeds into number 5, which I believe is you as well, asking for RV storage. And, so I get concerned in this area. So you've got a school, you've got a park, you've got residential area around here, and then you're asking retirees to come in with their big rigs, and they're beautiful. I have no problem with the rigs. I think they are fantastic, but 95% of them are going to be retirees that don't have children. They're transient, and then we're going to have repairs needed, and so it just feels like we're turning this into an RV block. And I'm not sure that that's really the spot for it in this valley. But
it's also a raceway. That's a massive raceway where they have weekenders come in every single weekend with big rigs, little rigs, but thousands of people come in and park and camp right here in the dirt in the raceway.
And what kind of a raceway is it?
A dirt track, oval track raceway.
Oval.
Well, see, that's
Mojave Valley.
good.
I still think that
That's really good to know.
Months of the year, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it'd be a good addition to that section of community, honestly, with the elevated stance that you have provided, I think, specifically that.
And with the time limits, I have other additional details that I can address with the resort rules. In that, we're going to vet all these people. We inspect the rigs before they go in. They have to have a reservation policy. And so, with the 24-hour security, we're quite confident in our customers.
I don't know about your specific operations, but my parents had RVs their whole life, and staying around the country, the vetting process to get into these is somewhat exhausting. If you don't fit the year requirement, if you're under the footage requirement, if there's flaking in your paint, I mean, some of these resorts do uphold standards where you cannot even go if you don't fit the quote-unquote criteria. It's very strict.
As I mentioned, it's a 5-star resort, and so it's a gated community, and so we're very careful with these people.
Any additional questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd like to.
For this rezone.
Can they put the map up here? I want to see the map on it, where it stands, or the neighborhood or whatever.
I think he's asking for the backup that's in the, there you go. No, I'm sorry, sir, that you're not able to. Okay. What is your name, sir? One moment, please. Yep, I'm going through them right now. Give me 1 second, okay? Does the commission have any questions for the applicant?
I did have just one curiosity. Do you have a length of stay, minimum, maximum?
There is. There's a 30-day. Anything after a 30-day, again, it's a resort, is reviewed by the administration. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No other questions or comments for the applicant? Obviously, you can be called back, so if you'd like to take a seat, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Christofferson, it appears that you've also signed up for 15, the plan evaluation.
I didn't realize that.
That's okay. That's okay. Come on, I'm going to move you to this item, and name and address for the record, please.
Certainly.
Just keep in mind, no interactions or questions. It's really just your moment to speak. Thank you.
Dan Christopherson, 2248 Sorrow Drive, Mojave Valley. What I have to talk about today is what you are already concerned with, and I am as well. I have a property that is immediately adjacent to the back of this property, and having an RV myself, I understand how some of these larger units that are also, like you said, $1 million plus properties, have huge engines, and as they come in and go out, they rumble, they make a lot of noise. We have a very quiet community in back of us there at Mojave Valley, and it's really nice to have that. I have no problem with moving forward and having new things happen, but please keep in consideration, and I'd like to ask the gentleman who's here today, if I can, what kind of walling they're going to do around it. The 25-foot buffer, our house faces directly backyard to this property. And so even just the consideration for the other people on Laguna Road, what that's going to create as far as the amount of noise and other traffic. You hear trash truck come down the street. That's about what we get sometimes from these RVs. Even though they're beautiful, they make a lot of racket. So that's my biggest concern, is to see if you can't arrange something where his plan comes up and says things like, where are they going to have the rec area, the pool area? What part of the property is that going to be in? How much traffic is anticipated to come? You've already talked about that, over 200 spaces. That's quite a lot. But we do have other traffic, of course, and nobody's going to suggest that that shouldn't happen. And I like the idea that it becomes something other than just a field that gets mowed and has other things going on. So I'd like to address that with the gentleman that's here today, if I could. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. I would encourage you to speak to those gentlemen after the meeting, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer all those questions for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you all for being here, helping us all.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. Closing the public hearing, unless there's other questions for the applicant at this time.
I do.
Would the applicant please come back?
Has this been brought up to the neighborhood? Has it been advertised or anything like that? I'm saying we only have one complaint here.
The rezone was published for the area for the applicants to attend, as I do believe we did get some.
Has he had a meeting with the people in the neighborhood, or that whole area?
No, sir.
I'd like to see that.
Okay. I don't believe there's any other, I mean, I'm sure you'd be open to having a meeting with the neighborhood community once you reach that point.
Once we reach it, well, they're perfectly welcome to come to this meeting and have, it's an open meeting, and they can address these items at this meeting.
Agreed. If there's nothing else, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 4.
Move approval.
Motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item carries. Item 5, Cassidy.
Item 5 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban residential land use designation to a general commercial land use designation and a rezone of assessor parcels number 2242028 from an AR 3A agricultural residential 3-acre minimum lot size zone to a CMO commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone to allow for covered and open lot storage in the Mojave Valley vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? He is. Do you wish to speak this time, or just available for questions?
No, just a brief description of the project. It's going to complement the resort next door in that some of those people don't want to drive those rigs back to Wisconsin. It will include both indoor, covered, and open storage. It'll include bathrooms. It'll include an RV and boat wash station. And we again believe it will contribute to the economic and development of South Mojave Valley. And we request that the commission approve this zoning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant from commissioners regarding that? Okay.
I think this defeats the purpose of short-term stay, though. If we have one lot next door that's supposed to only have 30-day stay, and then you move your RV from the lot of a 30-day stay over to a then 10.5-month stay or 11-month stay, then residents, schools, all of them, they're forced to look at the RVs, which then defeats the purpose of a short-term stay.
I thought you said it was, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're doing covered. Oh, and open lot. My apologies.
Oh, and I just have a comment that I believe open lot storage affects the surrounding neighborhood values.
I would too.
You know, you're residential, who wants open lot storage across the street?
An RV resort is one thing, I would agree that an elevated feature, but open lot storage kind of degrades that right away.
If staff can pull up the map, we're more than a quarter of a mile away from any residences on this storage.
Well,
Across the
you're
street to
talking
the
about
south.
Future development,
I'm sorry, ma'am?
that would hurt future development.
Well, across the street is farming to the south, and to the east is tribal land, to the north is the resort, and to the west is another AR lot. And so there's no residential development within more than a quarter of a mile of the site. And you're right, there is a certain amount of open storage, and this will be enclosed with a block wall.
Well, I think our county is looking for more housing, not storage. So I would like to see it stay AR. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, any other questions or comments for the applicant from commissioners?
Just maybe a quick question. So in the development of this, this open lot storage, I mean, this is, that Vanderslice is a major corridor coming into this community, and, you're putting this less than desirable aesthetic as you drive through, and into your luxury resort as well, and so.
And fair enough, it's a fair question.
So is there a way, and can you consider putting and mitigating the corners of that with a beautiful elements, whatever that is? Maybe it's the closed storage is against the roads, and there's some additional landscaping. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know that we can put that in a.
Sure, you can put that in your motion. You can include requirements, development requirements, not a problem. We'll be more than willing to develop as you require.
Because I think
I agree.
Yeah, I think the challenge is this is a corridor, and it is a degradation to as you come in there. If it's just open lot storage.
Right. No, that wasn't the purpose.
Similar to the 200 semis that are just south behind a razor wire fence.
Similar to that, yes.
Okay, all right, just wanted to clarify.
Right, and it was only a portion of it is going to be open storage, a majority is going to be enclosed and covered. So,
and you've already stated a block wall, correct?
Yes, sir.
More than 3 feet, I'm assuming?
Yeah, 6 feet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How high can he go? I mean, you can really do whatever you want down there, can't you?
Commissioner Hatsett, with enough money in engineering, you could build a very tall wall.
Your answer.
There's your answer.
You wanted trees, here comes a 20-foot wall. Are there any other questions or comments specifically about the rezone for the applicant on item 5? Hearing none, I'd like to close the public hearing, thank you, and entertain a motion on item 5.
I'd make a motion to approve item 5 as read.
There's a first, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
I'm sorry, that was 2? Okay, 2. Motion carries. Item 6, Melanie.
Item 6 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a low-density residential land use designation to a heavy industrial land use designation, and a rezone from an SDR, Special Development Cemetery Zone, to an MX Heavy Manufacturing Zone to allow for a part-time aggregate pit for assessor's parcel number 224-06002 in the Mojave Valley vicinity. Just a little bit of background. The SDR cemetery zoning was officially established in 1967, but it has never been utilized. There has never been any remains interred on this property. We have received 2 letters of opposition to this request. Staff does find that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, the applicant is present. Do you wish, oh wait, oh yeah, that is, okay. Yes, do you wish to speak at this time or available for questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This was an old farm pit. This belonged to the Chip Sherrill family and has been used for over 50 years. We didn't understand the cemetery designation to the zoning, but Melanie went back and researched the document. It was recorded in 1967. This is before you were born.
Yeah.
Okay? And so, this is not going to be a full-time use pit. This is no daily use. There will be no office. It's not open to the general public. We have stockpiles, and this will be used to support the gravel pit over on Laguna Road, which is 3/4 of a mile to the north. Okay? And an estimate of time, it'll be perhaps once a month, maybe not even that. Okay? So it's simply a property support pit, and so it'll be a part-time use as the demand occurs on the gravel pit on Laguna Road. And so, and we have had no complaints from the cemetery.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the same area as the power plant.
Should hope not.
Thank you very much. And as you've pointed out, the special use, what was it? Special development was considerably before I was born, but the reason for that was the Sherrill family developed that cemetery, and that was at one point expansion, but it's been a dirt pit since, again, before I was born. So, with that being said, there is no one else signed up to speak. Is there any questions for the applicant or staff?
I think my only question for staff, if you will, is this is an area where you've had great controversy over MX land over the last year. Is this going to create controversy? I understand their plans and intended use, but as it sells, is MX going to create more controversy in the community?
Chairman Hessek, Commissioner Helms, it is often hard to predict. We did receive 2 letters of opposition for this item. I wouldn't have been shocked if we received more, but that's all we have at this point.
But the idea with this rezone is to bring the property into compliance for the use that it's been operating for well over, I don't know, a handful of decades?
Yeah, Chairman Hessek, that's correct. If you remember, the rezone to MX for the existing facility on Laguna wasn't rezoned that long ago. We did receive some opposition on that one as well. To my knowledge, we've not received any complaints about that facility after the zoning was approved by the board.
Questions?
Well, yes, a question. I think the concern would be, with this MX zone, you could sell this down the road. You could put in a power plant, a solar facility, whatever you wanted, because that's a pretty loose zone.
That's what I was thinking. Could it be a special use permit? And then
Chairman Hessek, Commissioner Bradshaw, and Commissioner Helms, we don't have a special use permit to allow for a gravel pit specifically. You could certainly add conditions to try to limit the use. I will point out, so this property, if I go back a little bit, you can't really see it on this. So it's bordered on 2 sides by tribal land. That property to the south, it is that ends in 001, so that's a full section of land, so it is a mile to the south. But on that same property, the tribal property, is the existing peaker plant to the south there. So there is manufacturing uses in the area, but certainly if you wanted to add a condition to limit the uses to the existing gravel pit, you have the ability to do so.
thank you for the information.
Hearing no other questions or comments for staff, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 6.
Make a motion to approve per standard conditions.
I'll second.
There's a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, Cassidy.
Items number 7 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306-64016 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 3A agricultural residential 3-acre minimum lot size and an AR 17A agricultural residential 17-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Jeremy Brown, you are present. Go ahead. Misread that. Name and address.
Jeremy Brown, 6214 South Vineyard Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Chairman Hassett, members of the commission, thank you for the opportunity to present. I want to thank also staff members for fielding all my phone calls throughout the due diligence process. I really appreciate that. Just going to share with you, if we could, the map here just to show you my conceptual land divide. So here is Estrella and then Unkar. And I'm trying to stay within conformity to all the neighboring lots. So while these lot lines are approximate, I try to stay in exactly as these neighboring lots, as you see here, are. So we have 4.8 acre parcels, 4 of those that touch Estrella Road, and then the 19.3 acre that will touch Unkar. The reason I'm asking for a 3A and a 17A is you still wouldn't be able to divide these anymore, but I'm also just seeking some wiggle room in case of when we get to the land surveyor, if there needs to be an easement or anything like that, I've just got a little wiggle room with usable acreage.
Okay. Questions or comments for the applicant at this time? Okay, there's no one signed up to speak, so I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 7.
Motion to approve per staff recommendation.
First?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Item carries. Item 8, Melanie.
Item 8 is evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban development area land use designation to a general commercial land use designation, and to rezone from an AR agricultural residential zone to a C2 general commercial zone to allow for a multifamily development for assessor's parcel number 206-26113 in the Mojave Valley vicinity. Actually, that's Golden. Excuse me, I believe that's Golden Valley, actually, that should be corrected. We have received 2 letters of opposition for this item. It is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? May I also have Alex, I apologize, McAfee? You still here? Going once? Okay. Alex is not here. Robert Hoots, still here. So just for the record, we aren't able to answer questions. Do you still wish to speak at this time? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Lyman Watson, Kingman, Arizona, 2001 Rex Allen Drive. Commissioner Hassett and all the commissioners, thank you for letting me address this. I'm going to try to be brief because you guys have had a long meeting. And I'm going to try to answer the complaints or the issues that were addressed. I did prepare a brief packet for you. The initial letter that I received said that they were concerned about the development of multifamily. And I'm wondering if maybe there was some confusion. They thought maybe I was going to build a huge apartment complex. I am not the biggest developer in Mojave County. I purchased that land in 1993 with the intent to build duplexes on it because the adjacent parcel had duplexes. It's taken me quite some time to get to the point where I'm now, to have the ability to build duplexes on that property. If you notice on the map that I had provided you, I gave you guys a color copy. It looks a lot better. One of the issues that was addressed was the devaluation to the property values in that area due to adding multifamily structures. I wanted to point out that the multifamily duplexes were in existence. Those units that you'll see with the arrows were built in 1990. Those are the ones that I envisioned building myself at some point or something similar to that. The structures that I intend to build are going to be new, modern, that will look quite substantially better, I believe, and will add value. The other issue that was brought up was water. The Walnut Creek Water Company has 4 wells in operation in the Sacramento Wash area. There's no lack of water. This is going to be a residential development. I'm not putting in a huge apartment complex.
Go ahead.
My intention is to try to build this property and add to the value of the neighborhood. I'm not building it to sell. I'm building it. My original intent was to build it for my retirement plan. As you see, I'm substantially late in getting my retirement plan in place, but hopefully my son and my grandchildren will have something will provide some passive income for them later in their lives. Again, this is going to be there are limitations now. The original development was built on half-acre parcels, and I have to thank the staff with Development Services. They've been very helpful to me to work with the new adjustments. We're restricted by septic requirements, so the number of units that can be built. So I do not believe it's going to make a dramatic impact other than possibly improving the overall value of the area. And the water usage minimum impact is going to be minimum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just for clarification purposes, this is you, and that's the other duplexes right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions or comments for the applicant? No, if you could take a seat, I'd appreciate it. Mr. Hoots?
Robert E. Hoots, 2742 West Shauna, Golden Valley. I own the property on that Pacific corner of the whole lot he was going to purchase. You see a mobile home on that corner?
Yep.
Now, when I first bought that property a while back, I actually tried to get a hold of, for years now, to buy the whole block, but apparently they didn't want to sell it because it's a retirement plan. But I got a mobile home put there for my sister and a hookup for an RV for my mom to live till she passed. And I was concerned basically just about the aesthetics of it, or there'll be a mobile home here, duplexes, and I think it's all fine. It'd be better if you had the whole block, that way you can put a fence around it, do whatever he needs to do, because on that specific corner on Route 66, there's a sign that says Walnut Creek. That particular parcel is not part of Walnut Creek. I had a problem with the people in Walnut Creek when I first was putting a mobile home there. They said, "Oh no, you can't put this here because it's, only houses, only so many square feet, maybe a double wide mobile, but nothing that small since it's a 50 by 100 lot." After some problems here and there, figured out that Walnut Creek didn't own that parcel, so it's free for whatever you want to do. I approve of what's going to happen. Since it's not going to be an apartment complex with a lot of, it's all septic there. There's nothing as far as sewage, and I'll be looking forward to, because I put power all the way over to the corner from the far corner, so I'll be looking forward to having something developed there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No one else has signed up to speak on this. Are there any questions or comments for staff or applicant from commissioners? If not, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 8, but before we entertain a motion, I just have a question. Is it possible for the motion to restrict to duplexes only, so that we don't have a 4-story apartment complex with 200 units? And a bunch of angry yellow shirts at us?
I believe that would be acceptable within the Fifth Amendment. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I needed. So,
Is that acceptable to the applicant?
I only asked that because you mentioned just wanting to do duplexes, so that's just for clarification and concern to the other community members.
I
So,
wanted to clarify that as well, so that would be a good stipulation, so that we're not rezoning to commercial and leaving that wide open for.
to do what they want.
Right.
Okay, so
I have a question on that, though. So, looks to me like this is a great location for commercial, so what would be the concern of selling that and doing a commercial venture there?
what we are doing at general commercial,
Right. So
we're just, I think that,
are we going to do a motion that holds him fast to only duplexes and nothing, no other option? If we're doing that, why don't we just do it to RM? I'm just asking you a pretty
Well, that's,
broad question.
that's what I was wondering as
Sure.
well. Why are we getting out of residential into commercial if his intention is residential duplexes?
Well, it isn't commercial right now, it's suburban development.
here, go ahead.
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Bradshaw, and Commissioner Martin. So one of the things that staff looked at when working with the applicant prior to his submittal is looking at the general plan. And so one of the things that we looked at was this area in the general plan is largely a suburban development area with general commercial uses along Oatman Road. We felt a general commercial land use designation, which would allow for multifamily housing, was a better fit within the context of the general plan. And so that's why we went this route with the C2 and the general commercial designation as opposed to RM and either a medium or high density land use designation that doesn't exist in this area.
You guys good with that?
I would like to make a motion if that's the case.
Absolutely.
And I, I think that, first of all, I'm going to make a comment, and because higher density actually reduces water consumption per household, just because you don't have as much space to water, you don't have as many things to to develop on your property. And so I move that we approve this, send this on to the Board of Supervisors, knowing that the septic is going to control what is on that property.
With no restrictions of duplex only?
No.
So your motion is just to approve?
Correct.
Okay. There's a motion on the table.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, Melanie.
Item 9 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306241766A from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an SDC, Special Development Commercial Zone, to allow for an open lot RV and boat storage facility with a private residence in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff is recommending denial for spot zoning.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, the applicant is present. Do you wish to speak at this time? Name and address for the record, please.
Wait a minute.
Start the timer. Just kidding. Go ahead.
My main situation here, my main question is, staff has apparently not suggested an approval on this rezoning due to quote-unquote, they didn't want to engage in spot zoning. The reality is the county has already established a historical precedence for doing exactly that. You have packages in front of you. I've cited a minimum of 7 other facilities within 1 mile of this property that currently have zoning other than RA. Specifically, right across the street from me, that Almond Ranch over there, I think we would call it, one of their many parcels is currently owned commercial special. Whatever that designation actually means, I couldn't find any zoning ordinance for that. And again, the argument that can be made because the existing uses in the immediate vicinity, large ag pit, gravel pits, etc., that the commercial rezone as a, as a special development commercial would be appropriate. And I want to read something right out of your folks' 2025 general plan here, page 124, section 7.3, in regards to zoning classifications. Zoning classifications can protect neighborhoods from encroachment by inappropriate uses and further foster a healthy local economy by balancing residential, commercial, and industrial uses. I think a 10-acre open storage recreation vehicle and boat storage facility is more than appropriate for that area.
Thank you very much. There is no one else signed up to speak on this. Staff, do you have a rebuttal or statement on that about the spot zoning or anything you'd like to clarify for commissioners?
Chairman Hassett, no, nothing specific in our determination in looking at the area. The other zoning wasn't similar enough for us to be able to not recommend denial.
Okay. Questions or comments for the applicant or the staff? Yes, ma'am.
How long have you owned this parcel?
Approximately 3 years now. We've been working, attempting to work with, and they've been very helpful, the Planning Commission for approximately 1.5 years on this. Just to figure out any other zoning that was possible other than the CMO designation, which is commercial manufacturing open storage. That wasn't going to be appropriate because we wanted to also have a on-site facility, or excuse me, actually live on-site. And the CMO zoning wouldn't.
And when you purchased the parcel, what was your intent when you purchased the parcel?
Yes, ma'am.
When you purchased the parcel, you intended to go open lot storage?
Yes, ma'am. Open lot storage with a residential.
You couldn't find one that was zoned for that?
Well, there's a couple things to consider, obviously, if you're talking recreation vehicle storage, whether it's a small camper, a trailer, big RV, whatever the case may be. You have to have paved roads, obviously, okay? And it has to be fairly easy access for either the local community and/or visitors, as in the case of the item number 5 that you folks just approved. Okay, and that also, I think, would tend to augment my case here a little bit. If you folks just approved a enclosed / open storage of an RV facility for the other gentleman, with the consideration that you have a high-traffic corridor, school right across the street, etc. I mean, look at where our property's located. We're out in the middle of boony land out there. There are no schools. It's not a high-traffic corridor. Okay. There is no other development. And we are going to have absolutely zero impact on any existing or, to the best of my knowledge, proposed infrastructures from county or any other agencies. We're not asking you folks to bring a water line in. We're not asking you to develop or bring in a sewer system. We're going to be a completely standalone operation.
Thank you.
But I appreciate your question. I understand it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, were you?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just wanted, for the commission's knowledge, just read what our courts have considered to be spot zoning, just so you have that in mind. I'll just read it straight. If you need me to translate, let me know. Courts have held that there is not illegal spot zoning when the zoning ordinance is in accordance with the general or comprehensive plan designed to promote the general welfare. So it's considered spot zoning when the rezone application is not consistent with the general plan, which is staff's position here, that it is not consistent.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Any other questions or comments from commissioners for staff or applicant? If not, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 9.
Motion to deny.
Motion, there's a first.
I'll second that, and because I do believe that we'll be creating a precedent along Aztec, and I don't think that that's reasonable.
There's a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion denied. Item 10, Cassidy.
Item 10 is an evaluation for a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306-41001E from an AR4A agricultural residential 4-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. We have received 3 letters of opposition. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Hearing no one, and there's also no one signed up, I'm going to close the public hearing. Questions, comments for staff regarding this item? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion on item 10.
I'd
like to make a motion to approve?
Okay. First and second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 11, Vicky.
Agenda item 11 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306-41012E from an AR6A agricultural residential 6-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. The Board of Supervisors at the May 5th, 2025 meeting sent this rezone request back to Planning and Zoning Commission for reconsideration. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Was there any memo as to the reconsideration?
The applicant was not in presence at the original, and there were questions. Mr. Burson.
Thank you very much. See? Love a good memo. All right, opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present today? Seriously?
Because I have questions for the applicant.
Well, let's table.
Did anyone reach out to the, pure curiosity, but did anyone reach out to the applicant, let them know, hey,
I did.
this was denied, it's going to the supervisors, we got you kicked back, you might want to come?
He's had medical condition, and I attempted to have him have his sister help him.
Okay.
I could have swore I saw him here earlier.
Okay, so if
don't
he
know.
may be in the restroom or something, will you let me know if you see him? But are we all, I'll close the public hearing. Can we leave 11 until the end and make a motion on that?
Sure.
Sure.
Well, yeah, well, okay, all right.
Perfect timing.
In case he does walk back in, I'd like to give him the opportunity versus just shut it down again. Item 12, Vicky.
Agenda item 12 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessors parcel number 306-19113 from an AR2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? I also need Pamela Lucero. Are you still here? Going once? Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Scott Lander, 420 Lomas Vlojas, Kingman. My intent here, there's been a tremendous need in our county and in particular our area for properties with single-family homes that are nice with RV garages. My intent is to build on this property. I do have examples of the pictures of what I will be building. Also, just pointing out, I've circled, I'm not sure where is this the spot for the map here?
Yes.
Everything I've circled, so this one here is the property, but everything else that's highlighted or circled there are already 1-acre properties. And I was also going to show an example of what would be built there, if you guys can see that. I don't know, I'll turn it around this way. So they'll be nice homes. They'll be around $300,000 for an RV garage home. That's my intent. Quality, it'll improve the area. I'm not just doing this to go put a junkie mobile on it and decrease the value. So I just wanted to make my intent known of what was going to be done to take any guesswork out of it, just so everyone knows, and it's that simple. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions for the applicant from the commission? Thank you. There was an individual sign up to speak. They are no longer here, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Hearing no questions or comments, and I'd like to entertain a motion on item 12.
Move to approve.
Go ahead.
Move to approve with staff recommendations.
Okay, there's
I'll second.
a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I am going to break, so I could encourage you all to grab some coffee or do something. We're going to break for how long? I mean, anybody? 20 minutes.
Great.
Vicki, would you do me a favor and see if 11 is around? And we'll start back with that one. And if he's not here, then we'll obviously deal with it at that time. Thank you very much.
When I saw that, I went, oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's the one we got to.
What? You talking to me? Right. Calling the meeting back to order. Let's try for item 11 again. Vicky?
Agenda item 11 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 306411012E from an AR6A agricultural residential 6-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. The Board of Supervisors at the May 5th, 2025 meeting sent this rezone request back to Planning and Zoning Commission for reconsideration. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, the applicant is present. Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Gene Burson, Senior, and I'm just got my new address is 790 Teddy Roosevelt South.
All right. I know that we had some questions for you. If you would, is there anything you'd like to go over, or just here for questions?
Just here to answer questions.
Okay. Supervisor, sorry, Commissioner.
I have a question. On your application, water, electric, you have unknown.
Actually, Unisource is hooking my power up to that property today. They just did it a couple hours ago. And, I got 7 1/3 acre, and I want to turn it into 2 1.5 acre lots up front on Teddy Roosevelt and have a driveway beside the 2 lots going to the back and keep the 4 acres in the back for myself is what I wanted to do to the property.
Okay, but you want residential recreation? What are you planning to do?
I'm gonna build a barn dominium back there, and I plan on having some livestock and stuff on my 4 acres. I just want to split up and sell 2 1.5 acre lots, and they'll be right on Teddy Roosevelt. And then I wanted a long driveway beside those coming to the 4 acres behind it, so I'd kind of be nice and quiet back there.
Question for staff. Does he need residential recreation or just AR?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Martin, so they are rezoning the current zoning is agricultural residential with a 6-acre minimum lot size. This rezone is going to remove that 6-acre minimum lot size, which would take it down to a 1-acre minimum lot size to allow for this lot split. So the zoning, the agricultural residential will remain on the property.
Okay, so where does the recreation come in?
Yeah, there is no, it's not, yeah, that word recreation should be removed. It's just the agricultural residential zone. I apologize.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
That addressed mine. My question was how, the access to the rear lot, so perfect.
So your end goal is just to divide it, sell the front 2, keep the back for yourself?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Okay.
So whatever motion we make, we should remove the recreation?
No.
No?
Just, yeah, right.
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Martin, so in the actual recommendation, it's clear, it's just the agricultural residential zone. That's just a typo in the heading of the staff recommendation there.
Okay.
So I think just a recommendation to approve would be sufficient.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Closing the public hearing, I'd like to entertain a motion on item 11.
Make a motion to approve with the staff recommendations.
Okay, first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Item carries. Item 13 has been withdrawn. 14, Melanie.
Item 14 is evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 30617-051 from an AR2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff does find that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? You know the drill.
Yes, he does.
Scott Lander, 420 Lomas Flahas. Sorry, it's kind of loud there. Same exact situation as the one we approved just before we broke. And I put this up on the screen here because everything that I circled is already 1 acre properties. I just wanted to point that out. Same exact scenario as the last one, if you remember, with the RV garages.
Yep.
It's a beautiful area. I want to improve it with nice homes. So
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant from commissioners? No. Thank you. Angel Lund. Going once. Okay. Closing the public hearing, I'd like to entertain a motion on item 14.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Item carries. Item 15, Vicky.
Agenda item 15 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 121-16013 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36 acre minimum lot size zone to a CRE 36A commercial recreation 36 acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a single family home and campground in the Yucca vicinity. We have received 9 letters of opposition. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? And then may I please have, sitting in the front row, may I please have Paula Golightly, okay, Charles Bennett. Oh, I really got to start reading those better. Thank you. Hold on. Is this Alicia Keys? Is this real?
That's what it says.
I saw that too.
Got piano order.
Calm down.
All right.
Hey, Jamie Steffes. Okay. Jeff. Yep. That's a T. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, it's Charles Bennett. I'm at 2067 South Lost Loot Road in the Santa Fe Ranch community. Basically, if you will look at the map here, please, what we have is the Santa Fe Ranch community, and I just wanted to give you an indication of the picture here. So this is Yucca over here, and down in the very bottom corner is Plant Ranch Road, actually, and Alamo Road runs all through here. And this is a 2,400 family, 40-acre lot community in this area. And it's 25 miles from Yucca down to where we're going to talk about and what I'll show you on the map. You go 2 miles further south and you hit Chicken Springs Road, which goes over to Wikia. And so any commercial development is the closest to purchase anything or buy food is basically 20 or 25 miles away. And so when the Dutch Flat Plan was done, and I really appreciate this plan. There's a lot of work put into it, and it was done by planning and zoning, and you have quite a lot of information in here, maps and what have you. And I was told it was folded into the general plan, but when I went looking at it, I hope in the future that we have a lot more of this information in here. A lot of work was done. This was Brooks Realty that started the process of developing this.
You're good. Go ahead.
So, could we see this map so I can, okay, thank you. So what we have here on Alamo Road are what they called in the Dutch Flat Plan nodes for business, little businesses along Alamo Road. It's the main corridor going through the development. And many of the nodes are located down in the very southeast corner of the development. The lot that we're talking about is just one lot removed from one of the nodes, actually two of the nodes are a little bit north and a little bit south of this property that are already designated and proposed to be commercial with primary acre lots and then secondary around that. And so this is what I propose to do here is a campground community. And there are no letters of opposition from any of my neighbors adjacent to me. The 9 letters you're having are coming from the larger association, and they're generally a distance away, at least a couple of miles. Or, well, excuse me, in one case, it's about a half a mile. So the idea here is to have campsites on platforms 10 by 16 that have piers underneath them. And so you put a tent on there, and the idea is to put a queen-size bed in there and then have a little porch. So 10 by 10 tent with a 6-foot porch. This was started on the East Coast. It's really catching on, and it's basically sweeping across the country and doing really rather well. There are other places on Santa Fe Ranch that are actually already doing this now. You have approved one other 40-acre lot into a CRE, so I'm advocating doing that also. What you see here on the map is where the cattle get collected. So there's a cattle collection 40-acre property. Barris Ranch has been doing it forever. It's a site that's over 100 years old. It ought to be a museum for the structures of the railroad ties and whatever to load cattle. And
Sir, I'm going to pause you just really quick. Have any questions been developed by the commissioners for the applicant for this specific rezone? I'm going to have them ask you some questions, and then we can go over that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I own a property very close to this. I'm going to recuse myself from this one.
Okay. All right.
So my initial question is, what utilities and facilities do you have for your patrons and for will they be septic, sewer? How do you plan to manage and facilitate them?
This whole area for 15 miles probably is off-grid entirely. So all facilities I'm furnishing. I've got the solar, I've got a really good well, and the septics are in. So we have this to produce and be able to do this.
So how many, so dirt roads all the way out there,
That's correct.
They're unmaintained dirt roads, or are they
No.
maintained?
Now, the association, there's 415 miles of dirt roads out there. I'm a board member for 15 years, president for 10, and we grade those roads all through the year, and that's our primary function of that association, that plus maintaining the quality of the buildings out there, so we don't have trailer homes and things like that. It's basically all stick-built.
So it seems like a lot of the opposition is from the HOA, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn necessarily, but maybe some of that's because you need to get with your HOA and get them to buy off on this idea, and part of that might be just a stipulation that you'll pay extra into the HOA for maintenance because you've got patrons that are paying that everyone else is maintaining for them.
Well, the idea is we need to get some commercial out there. Communities, this is an aging community as well. We need some of that. But we had a homeowners association Zoom meeting, which I attended and answered all their questions, and basically they approved it. They had their issues, but there was no big negative feedback. I have my neighbor to the cattle ranch I was going to speak about, they very much approve it. The neighbor to the north approves it. The neighbor that's kitty corner from me, sure.
I'm sorry, we have multiple questions kind of stacking up, Commissioner.
Yes, what are you going to have as far as fire goes? You have a fire department? How far is it from there?
Yucca Fire Department has been given over to Golden Valley, and that's another long story, but Golden Valley has fire equipment there, but it's 25 miles away, so
if you have a fire, you're out of luck.
That's correct.
Not good. Who's going to maintain your water system? You have a company coming in to maintain the water system?
I maintain the water system.
And you're there 24 hours?
I live literally half a mile away.
That's all for now.
Commissioner?
Okay. If you're part of the HOA, we don't get involved. That's between you and the HOA. But my comment would be this type of commercial venture to be so far away from medical facilities. You said yourself there's nothing out there. So that would be my concern, along with Commissioner Hubbard's comments on fire.
There are no medical facilities in Wickiup or Yucca.
Okay, well, that would be my concern.
Any other additional comments for the applicant?
When you put these roads in, who's going to maintain them? They're not maintained by the county.
They're maintained by the association. We pay a fee, it's 100 and something per year, and the roads get graded as needed basis now. It used to be 3 times a year. And they're graded and maintained very well. We have no complaints from people within the association community. And we have Alamo Road is a county road maintained by the county. There's a couple of other roads, Santa Fe Ranch and Butch Cassidy are all maintained by the county.
Any additional questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. Paula Golightly. Oh, I don't. Yep, come on up. Name and address for the record.
Paula Golightly, 7903 East Palo Verde Drive, Yucca, Arizona. I am 3 40-acre lots to what I guess everybody calls the east of this facility. Based on the comments he just made, I would like to note that this has been in operation for a number of years in violation of county rules and regulations. Our roads are also only maintained once a year. Currently, they had some water washout, and with a lot of traffic, they'll get worse until next year when they do another plowing. The POA, we don't have a HOA, we have a POA. They are not authorized, they don't have the authority to approve anything in this matter. They defer that to the county. But anyway, I delivered a letter that stated a lot of my concerns about this and also requested that this be denied. This parcel is not surrounded by vacant land. This is a neighborhood consisting of 40-acre parcels to the east of Alamo Road between Grand Gulch and Ocotillo, and is residential and agricultural. There are many homes in the area. As shown in the Dutch Flat Plan, commercial businesses would be better served by parcels accessible directly from Alamo Road, which is maintained by the county. This parcel is within this neighborhood and is accessible only by the private roads maintained by the POA. Instead of rezoning this parcel to commercial recreation, the Bennett's should submit an application for special use permit as a path to remedy their solution of being in violation of the county rules and regulations. I appreciate your concern, or your time and your consideration in this matter.
Thank you very much. Alicia Keys.
Good afternoon, thank you. Alicia Keys, yes, I do not sing, I can dance, but I don't sing.
Well, you have 2 minutes.
78,
Just kidding.
7875 East Yucca Drive. I am diagonally or kitty corner across from this property. I am not a vacant lot. I wanted to address some of the inaccuracies that were mentioned, or things that were unmentioned. And Chuck did mention this, that we are off of I-40, off of Coyote Road, which immediately turns into Yucca Drive, the street that I live on. In fact, the access to this property of his is closer to Yucca Drive than Ocotillo, which he fails to mention. It would definitely be, it's definitely residential area. There are several homes on our street. It's not a long street, but there are a lot of homes on our street, and this would definitely impact the values of our home. I'm not sure if he's planning to have RV spaces. It wasn't clear from the paperwork. The county document said RV spaces. His statement did not, but he already does have RV spaces there and platform tents on his property, and that he's been renting the Airbnb as well. So all of these things have been happening. Let me see. So as you mentioned, there's no electric, no water, no sewer. There's also no services for fire or healthcare. If somebody gets hurt, then it's 25 miles or more to get to the local hospital. If there's a fire, as you know from California, in an urban city, whole communities disappeared in a matter of hours or days. Our situation would be 10 times worse, because it would be hours and hours before somebody could help us and prevent this fire from spreading. Many of the residents out here have come because it was a rural area. We wanted to get away from the beaten path, and this is going to add a lot more traffic, additional road usage, and like Paula mentioned, the road gets maintained once a year. May I have another minute or half a minute?
No, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
Jenny, I'm sorry. Come on up, Jenny.
I'm at 8095 East Yucca Drive, which is less than a quarter mile from Mr. Bennett. I'm here today, like many of my neighbors, to strongly oppose Mr. Bennett's request for commercial zoning in our serene and pristine neighborhood. We didn't choose to live here for the hustle and bustle of a campground. We choose it for the quiet beauty and peaceful environment. If this project moves forward, the community we've built will be forever changed. Anyone not opposing this request likely does not live near the parcel in question. If they did, they would see the serious consequences it would have on their daily lives. No one, not even Mr. Bennett, would want a campground directly next to his home. The risks are just simply too high. First, safety and environmental hazards. As mentioned, imagine year-round campfires in this area with no paved roads, no easy access for emergency services. The risk of fire and human error is real and dangerous. Our community is not prepared for these types of hazards at all. Two, the destruction of wildlife and habitats. The area Mr. Bennett has chosen is home to protected species, including the saguaro cactus, which takes 150 years to grow and is protected by the state of Arizona. This land is a vital sanctuary for rare plants and wildlife, and Mr. Bennett's existing campers have already shown reckless disregard for this environment. Trash, off-roading, and illegal hunting are threatening the ecosystem in this area. And this will only worsen if this is approved. Incompatibility with our community. The chosen site is deep into stagecoach trails, far from paved roads and critical infrastructure. This area should remain untouched. We do not want to lose the peaceful quality of life that we cherish. And we certainly do not want to see the beauty of this land destroyed or our properties devalued for his commercial gain. For these reasons and more, I have detailed also in my letter to the committee, we plead that you deny this request. We are not against development. We simply ask that the commercial zoning be done elsewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff And then, yeah, you can return to your seats when you're done speaking as well. May I have Mary Jane Houlihan, Carol Wilk, and Gary Heckman up front? Go ahead.
Jeff Rosnietta, 21309 South Bonanza Road. I'm about a mile away, and I'm not in favor of a campground. I'm asking you to deny. I wouldn't want a campground next to my property. My friends don't want a campground next to their property, and I don't think anybody wants a campground next to their property. So I'm asking you to deny. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Mary Jane?
Mary Jane Houlihan, 19811 Wagon Trail Road, Yucca. My husband and I are in the process of building a beautiful home. We're probably 3 miles away from Wits End, which is the campground, and I would like also to see it denied because I am more concerned. If you approve it, then someone is going to come and buy a lot next to me and want to make a bigger one. 40 acres is a lot. You can fit a lot of hip camp things, trailers on that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol?
Carol Wilk, currently residing at 542 Harvard Court in Kingman. I'm a property owner within the association, and I'm going to have to also identify myself as a board member for the Property Owners Association. I didn't plan on speaking on behalf of the board, but there was some misinformation that was given by Mr. Bennett. When we had our meeting recently, where he spoke to members of the community, we did not endorse this zoning change. We simply took a uninvolved, no stance on it because we understand that he has the right to request a zoning change. By no means was that an endorsement of his plans for this campground. I can tell you that as a property owner and a member of the board, deeply disappointed in the way that he's come about with this, in that he's been doing this in violation, apparently, of county ordinance for a number of years now. It's advertised on hip camp websites. There's a couple of RV spaces that I became aware of recently that are on the property as well, and the house that he identified as residential is actually an Airbnb. He does not live on the property. There is nobody residing on site. He lives a considerable distance from the property, so it doesn't have the effect on him that it does on the neighbors more close to the property. There, again, this has been mentioned, but there's no infrastructure out there for fire service. There's no medical. The roads are a concern. We all pay a lot of money to have those roads maintained. I've recently... Thank you. You get the point.
Gary Heckman, 8187 East Yucca Drive, and we live about a half a mile from the parcel that the Bennetts are trying to rezone. My wife Betty and I are strongly opposed to this. The Bennetts started development on their campground 5 years ago. They did this illegally on a residential zone parcel without permits to build the campground bathroom, lay underground utilities, and in violation of the Stagecoach Trails Association covenants. The Bennetts live 3 miles away by road, probably a little over a mile by the way the Raven flies. But they are spared from the campground and undesirable impacts that the surrounding property owners endure. Living near a campground can yield the following potential impacts. Fire. An out-of-control campfire can easily turn into a wildfire with the possible destruction of neighborhood properties, homes, and possibly the loss of life. We have witnessed the campfires burn throughout the year, even in periods of fire bans. The closest fire department is an hour and a half away. It'd probably take longer to get them out there. Noise, campground noise is lethal to peace and quiet. Traffic increases will cause higher maintenance needs for neighborhood roadways. This is a cost that is paid for by the neighborhood property owners. The campground will bring more people into our neighborhood. Some of these people could be of questionable character. Nobody wants that in their neighborhoods. Campgrounds can cause surrounding property values to decrease and become harder to sell. If the Bennett's are granted this rezone, it'll be a win-win-win for them. They get away with developing and operating an illegal campground for 5 years. They avoid the campground impacts because they live off-site, and they also could probably appreciate the new value of, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments for the applicant from commissioners? Hearing none, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 15.
I make a motion to deny.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion denied. Item 16, Cassidy.
Item 16 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a light industrial land use designation to a suburban residential land use designation and a rezone of assessor's parcel number 326-03028B from an A general zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Dolan Springs vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Nope. Okay. Angel Lund. I know I called once before, but I just want to make sure it's on record that I do it this time as well. Okay. Closing the public hearing. Commissioners' comments or questions for staff? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion on item 16.
Questions for the applicant?
No.
He's not here?
Nope.
I make a motion to deny.
You want to make it, okay, deny or?
Maybe
carry
table.
to- I'm sorry?
Say maybe table it. We were scolded last time about denying things just because the
Okay.
applicant's not here.
We'll table, I rescind my motion, make a new motion to table it to next month's meeting.
Okay, so
Second.
the initial motion is withdrawn, the second, or now the second motion that's out there is to table to the following meeting?
Prefer the word continue.
Oh, continue.
Continue.
Thank you. Table means something else.
What do you need?
Okay.
Continue is what we need. Table means remove it entirely from consideration, in which then you need a motion to bring it back. It's a whole other thing.
I'll correct my motion to continue it to next month's meeting.
Okay, first?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor to continue?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion continued. Item 17, Vicky.
Agenda item 17 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 225-21116 from an AR4A agricultural residential 4-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for a minor land division in the Fort Mojave vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you very much. The applicant present, do you, open the public hearing, is the applicant present, do you wish to speak at this time? No one else has signed up to...
present. Can you hear me?
Oh, he's on Teams?
On Teams.
Stand by.
Yes, I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. Questions from commissioners for the applicant?
Well, he's asking for a land division. How many lots is he making?
Two.
Two.
Two?
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have another question. So, if that's okay, are both lots going to be accessed by the same driveway? Do you have a separate easement? How do you intend? This looks like a landlocked parcel, so I'm curious how you currently have access and how the two lots will ultimately have access.
Yeah, it appears that way on the map, but there's actually a county road, South Quill Lane, that comes down to service the property, and the property will have an easement to the southmost piece along the western border of the first lot.
Okay, great.
Any other questions for the applicant or staff? Not, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 17.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
There's a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Item 18, Cassidy.
Item 18 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 344-16033 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 5A agricultural residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone and an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Kingman vicinity. Staff finds the application proper for consideration with standard conditions.
Thank you. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Available for questions? Thank you. Questions for the applicant from commissioners? Hearing none, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion on item 18.
Motion to approve per staff recommendations.
Second.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. 19 has been continued. Item 20, commissioners' comments.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, sir.
For staff, is there any way in the verbiage when you send these, when they make an application out for their approval, this, that, and the other, that you could tell them that if they don't show up, there's a possibility they might not get their way?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Hubbard, we do inform applicants. We strongly recommend that they attend to be able to answer questions. We don't have a specific spelled out requirement for them to attend, so I think strongly encourage is the best that we could do.
But it's, what is
We do encourage
strong,
them in
what is,
multiple places.
what does strongly mean? We,
It means we can continue it if we
no
choose.
continuation, if they want to get something done. I know this has been, up for a long time, but there's gotta be some kind of verbiage to say this might not go your way.
Yeah, I don't know if legal's going to approve that.
It would sure solve us a lot of problems.
Continue it, that's all. All right, any other questions, comments? Nope, all right. Call to the public. Danielle.
Thank you again, Chairman Hassett, and I want to thank Chairman or Chairwoman Gillette and Martin for attempting to have our needs and voices addressed today. And I'm very let down by Mr. Ruge for not amending your motion to include us as a consideration what we voiced today. And by not having this addressed by the next meeting, you're actually going exactly against what Mr. Gunderson was trying to explain. The zoning is 36-acre ranches right now. The land use designation that is still there does not match. So they still have to go through the rezone process in the future. So this is still unresolved, and we will be here next time too to continue this. And it's just very disappointing that both our District 4 supervisors didn't have any discussion, any comments about what we presented today, and that is hurtful to the community. It doesn't feel like a good representation for us. And at the next discussion on this, I will be showing the county documents from the recorder's office showing that Mr. Travin Pennington, Resurrected Properties, acquired that property in 2011 via tax lien, sat on it for 10 years, and then didn't file for title until 2021. So that is my 2 minutes. We will be back. Thank you.
Very much. No other individuals who, no other individuals who wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'd like to call for adjournment. Is that a motion? I gotta do that? Motion to adjourn. Yeah, we just do it. Thank you.